All right, so now that you have your scenarios written on the front side of your paper, you're gonna flip your paper over, and these are gonna be the 5 different things that we identify and that we analyze and work through together. So first, number 1, you are going to identify what is the problem in this scenario. So for example, in the situation I gave, where that girl was at the sleepover, and they wanted to go to the park at night and smoke weed, she was saying the different problems were, going to a park late at night, it's dangerous, smoking weed is illegal and not safe, and going with people that she doesn't know out at night, not safe. So it could be one thing, it could be 3 things. For number 1, I want you to identify what are the problems in your scenario. Like, why is this an issue? Why is this not a good situation? All right, so should be writing down right here, what is the problem? Okay, so after you write that down, then for number 2, you're going to decide on all of the possible decisions that could be made, consider good and bad. So for the scenario I gave, what are her options? She could go to the park at night with these people. She could get a ride home, leave, or this was the one she ended up going with. She said that she was just feeling tired and that she was just gonna go to sleep. Because it was 2 in the morning. She said everybody was kind of had their sleeping bags or were about to go to sleep, and then all of a sudden someone was like, hey, want to go to the park? So she was sort of actually almost asleep, I'm just gonna go to sleep. What? Yeah, she ended up just going to sleep, and then the other people at the house, they went to the park and they came back. But for number 2, you're gonna come up with all of the options you could pick. So another example is if you're in the bathroom, someone asks you to smoke weed, you could choose to smoke weed in the bathroom, or you could choose to be like, I'm okay, and get out of there. So at least 2 different, for number 2, you're coming up with at least 2 different options that you have in that moment. So that's what you'll write for number 2. Now, I know you may still be working on that, but I'm going to give directions for the rest of it and then give you time to work on it. So, for number 3, this is a really important part. You are going to evaluate your decisions. So, if you decide to go to the park in the night, what are the pros and cons of that decision? What are, the consequences that could happen? If you go to the park in the night, that's dangerous. The cops could get involved. There could be scary people out there. You could get feel ill from the weed if she chooses to smoke. So those are negative consequences if she were to do it. She said if she were to call her mom and go home, a consequence would be maybe her friends would kind of look down on her, what the heck, you're calling your mom? And she didn't want to deal with that. So she ended up choosing to just pretend she was asleep because her friends were kind of understanding of that. They're oh, okay, okay, whatever. So that's what helped her make that decision. So number 2, you're deciding what choices can you make, and then for number 3, you're evaluating those choices. Okay, if I do this option, what would be the consequences? If I do this option, then what would be the consequences? Does that make sense? Okay. For number 4, you'll choose which decision you're going to make. And then for number 5, you'll write down what you learned at the end of it.
What is number 4?
We'll see number 4, you choose which one. Number 5, what did you learn? Okay, so now I will walk around as you finish working on the different